The story of rebuilding the World Trade Center is one of resilience, determination, and hope rising from the ashes of tragedy. After the devastating attacks of September 11, 2001, which destroyed the iconic Twin Towers and claimed nearly 3,000 lives, New York City faced an unprecedented challenge: how to rebuild not just buildings, but the spirit of a nation. This is the comprehensive story of how Ground Zero transformed into a vibrant memorial and commercial complex that stands today as a testament to human perseverance. In the days and weeks following September 11, 2001, Ground Zero became the most significant recovery site in American history. The cleanup effort was monumental, involving thousands of workers who labored around the clock. The site covered 16 acres of devastation in Lower Manhattan, with approximately 1.8 million tons of debris that needed to be carefully removed and examined for remains and evidence. The recovery operation lasted 9 months, concluding in May 2002. Every piece of steel, every fragment of concrete was treated with reverence, as it potentially contained the remains of victims. Workers erected temporary platforms and used cranes, excavators, and even their bare hands to sift through the wreckage. The physical and emotional toll on these workers cannot be overstated. Many suffered from respiratory illnesses and PTSD that persist to this day. The stakeholders and early planning. Rebuilding the World Trade Center involved an incredibly complex web of stakeholders, each with different visions and interests. The key players included the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the government agency that owned the World Trade Center site and had the ultimate authority over what would be built there. Larry Silverstein, the real estate developer who had signed a 99-year lease on the World Trade Center complex just 6 weeks before the attacks. Despite the tragedy, his lease remained valid, giving him significant say in the rebuilding process. The city and state of New York, government officials, including Mayor Michael Bloomberg and Governor George Pataki, who represented the public interest and wanted to ensure the site honored the victims while revitalizing Lower Manhattan. The families of 9/11 victims. They demanded that any rebuilding plan include a proper memorial that would preserve the memory of their loved ones. The Lower Manhattan Development Corporation, LMDC, created specifically to oversee the rebuilding process and coordinate between various stakeholders. These groups often had conflicting visions. Silverstein needed profitable commercial space to justify his investment. Families wanted sacred memorial space. The city needed economic revitalization. The Port Authority had to balance public service with financial viability. In 2002, the LMDC unveiled 6 initial designs for rebuilding the site. The public response was overwhelmingly negative. Critics called the designs uninspired, corporate, and disrespectful to the memory of what had been lost. This rejection led to a second, more open design competition. In December 2002, the LMDC presented 7 new designs from world-renowned architects. After months of public input and debate, Daniel Libeskind's Memory Foundation's design was selected in February 2003. Libeskind, a Polish-American architect known for his Jewish museum in Berlin, proposed a design rich with symbolism. The Freedom Tower would rise to 1,776 feet, a direct reference to the year of American independence. The height would make it the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. The Wedge of Light. Libeskind designed the buildings to create a wedge of light that would shine on the Memorial Plaza each September 11th, between the times when the 2 towers were struck. Exposed slurry wall. Part of the original foundation wall that held back the Hudson River would be preserved and exposed, showing the resilience of the structures that survived. However, Libeskind's original vision would undergo significant changes. Larry Silverstein insisted that his architect, David Childs of Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, collaborate on the Freedom Tower design. This led to tension and compromise, with the final tower design being substantially different from Libeskind's initial concept. The memorial design. While debate continued over the commercial buildings, the memorial competition proceeded separately. In 2004, after reviewing 5,201 submissions from 63 countries, the jury selected Reflecting Absence by Michael Arid and Peter Walker. Their design featured 2 enormous reflecting pools set within the footprints of the original Twin Towers. Water cascades down the walls into the pools and then into smaller voids in the center, a powerful metaphor for the void left by those who died. Around the pools, bronze panels are inscribed with the names of every person who died in the September 11th attacks and the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. The memorial also includes a plaza with 400 swamp white oak trees, creating a peaceful grove in the heart of the city. One tree, known as the survivor tree, was discovered in the rubble of the original towers, nursed back to health, and replanted as a living symbol of resilience. Construction challenges. Breaking ground on the new World Trade Center was not straightforward. Several significant challenges had to be overcome. The bathtub. The original World Trade Center was built within a massive foundation called the bathtub that kept water from the nearby Hudson River out of the site. This structure had to be preserved and reinforced while new construction occurred. Security concerns post 9/11 America demanded unprecedented security measures. The new buildings had to incorporate features like reinforced concrete cores, wider staircases, dedicated emergency exits, and blast-resistant materials. Transportation hub. The site included a major subway station that had been destroyed. Architect Santiago Calatrava was commissioned to design a new path station and transportation hub, which became a project of immense complexity and cost. Coordination. Multiple buildings were being designed by different architects and built simultaneously, requiring extraordinary coordination to ensure everything fit together properly. Financing. The total cost of rebuilding exceeded $25 billion, requiring complex arrangements between insurance payouts, government funding, private investment, and bonds. One World Trade Center. The centerpiece of the rebuilt complex is One World Trade Center, which became the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere upon completion. Construction began in 2006, but progress was slow due to design changes, security enhancements, and financing difficulties. The building's design evolved significantly from the original Leibskin vision. David Child's final design features a simple, elegant form, a square base that transforms into 8 elongated isosceles triangles as it rises, culminating in a glass parapet at 1,368 feet, the height of the original North Tower, and a spire that reaches the symbolic 1,776 feet. Security features. The base of the tower is encased in a 187-foot-high windowless concrete and steel podium designed to protect against truck bombs. The building's core is wrapped in walls of high-strength concrete and contains all the emergency systems. Sustainable design. One World Trade Center achieved LEED Gold certification, incorporating rainwater collection systems, efficient lighting, and advanced air filtration. Construction timeline. Steel construction began in 2008. The building reached street level in 2010, topped out in 2013, and officially opened on November 3, 2014, 13 years after the attacks. The first tenant, magazine publisher Condé Nast, moved in during 2014, occupying floors 20 to 44. Despite initial concerns about whether companies would want to occupy such a symbolic target, the building has successfully attracted tenants and visitors. The other towers. The World Trade Center complex includes several additional towers. 3 World Trade Center, designed by Richard Rogers, this 80-story, 1,079-foot tower opened in 2018. Its distinctive design features load-bearing steel columns on the exterior, creating column-free interiors. 4 World Trade Center, designed by Fumihiko Maki, this 72-story building opened in 2013, becoming the first tower completed at the World Trade Center site. Its minimalist design provides a calm contrast to its neighbors. 7 World Trade Center, actually rebuilt first, opening in 2006. Designed by David Childs, it stands on the north edge of the site. Though not part of the original Twin Towers, 7WTC was destroyed on September 11th. 2 World Trade Center. Plans for this building have evolved over the years. Originally designed by Norman Foster, then Bjarke Ingels, it remains unbuilt as of 2024, with its future still uncertain. The 9/11 Memorial and Museum. The National September 11th Memorial opened on September 11, 2011, the 10th anniversary of the attacks. The Memorial Plaza is free and open to the public, providing a contemplative space in the midst of a bustling city. The 9/11 Memorial Museum opened on May 21, 2014. Located beneath the Memorial Plaza, the museum preserves and presents the history of 9/11, documenting the attacks and exploring their aftermath. The museum's exhibits include Foundation Hall, contains the last column, a 36-foot-tall piece of steel that was the last removed from ground zero, covered with inscriptions from recovery workers. Historical exhibition, chronicles the events of September 11 through artifacts, photographs, videos, and first-person accounts. In Memoriam, a space dedicated to the individual stories of those who died. Memorial Exhibition explores what happened at the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. The museum faced some controversy during its planning, particularly around how to discuss the attackers and their motivations without giving them a platform. But it has become an essential site for remembrance and education. The Transportation Hub. The World Trade Center Transportation Hub, officially known as the Oculus, opened in March 2016. Designed by Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava, this striking structure serves as a train station and shopping mall. Calatrava's design resembles a bird being released from a child's hands, symbolizing peace and hope. The main feature is a dramatic vaulted space with a glass roof that floods the interior with natural light. On each anniversary of September 11th, sunlight aligns to shine through the skylight at the exact moment the first tower was struck. The Oculus serves the PATH trains connecting Lower Manhattan to New Jersey, as well as several New York City subway lines. It cost approximately $4 billion, making it one of the most expensive train stations ever built, and generated significant controversy over budget overruns. Challenges and controversies. The rebuilding process was far from smooth. Major controversies included cost overruns. Nearly every aspect of the project exceeded initial budgets. The total cost grew from early estimates of $11 billion to over $25 billion. Delays. Construction took far longer than initially promised. What was supposed to be complete by 2010 to 2011 stretched well into the 2010s and beyond. Design compromises. The need to balance commercial viability, security, aesthetics, and memorial space led to designs that satisfied no one completely. Disputes between stakeholders. Larry Silverstein and the Port Authority frequently clashed over financing, design, and control. These disputes led to lawsuits and construction delays. Insurance battles. Silverstein sued his insurance companies, arguing the two plane strikes constituted two separate incidents, potentially doubling his payout. After years of litigation, he received approximately $4.6 billion. Cultural sensitivity. Debates arose about whether to include a mosque near Ground Zero, what artifacts to include in the museum, and how to represent the attackers without glorifying them. The rebuilt World Trade Center transformed Lower Manhattan in several ways. Residential growth. The area has seen explosive residential development, with the population of Lower Manhattan doubling since 2001. Commercial revival. New office buildings, shops, and restaurants have revitalized the neighborhood economically. Tourism. The memorial and surrounding area attract millions of visitors annually, though this brings both economic benefits and challenges of managing such heavy foot traffic at a memorial site. Symbol of resilience. The rebuilt complex stands as a powerful statement that terrorism cannot destroy the American spirit. The World Trade Center rebuilding taught valuable lessons about urban development, crisis management, and public-private partnerships. The need for clear authority. Too many stakeholders with competing interests led to inefficiency and conflict. Balance of interests. Sacred memorial space and profitable commercial space can coexist, but require careful planning and compromise. Public input matters. When the public rejected the first design proposals, organizers listened and created a better outcome. Security and openness. Post 9/11 security requirements can be integrated into beautiful architecture without creating fortress-like structures. Time and patience. Meaningful rebuilding after tragedy cannot be rushed. The extended timeline, while frustrating, allowed for better outcomes. The rebuilding of the World Trade Center represents one of the most complex and emotionally charged urban development projects in history. From the rubble of September 11th emerged not just new buildings, but a reimagined neighborhood that honors the past while looking toward the future. One World Trade Center stands as the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere, a soaring symbol of resilience and determination. The memorial pools offer a place for reflection and remembrance. The surrounding towers, plaza, and transportation hub create a vibrant urban center. The process was messy, expensive, and often frustrating. It took far longer and cost far more than anyone anticipated. But the result is a fitting tribute to those who died and a demonstration that even the most devastating attacks cannot break the American spirit. The World Trade Center site today is not just about what was lost, but about what endures: memory, community, and hope for the future. As millions of people work, visit, and remember at the World Trade Center each year, The site fulfills its dual purpose, honoring the past while building the future. It stands as proof that from tragedy can come renewal, and that a city, a nation, and a people can rebuild and emerge stronger than before.